I used to think I was just obsessed with cleaning. The smell of detergent, the sound of water running, it gave me peace. But lately, I realized it wasn't about the dirt, it was about me. Every time things got messy, I felt like my life was falling apart again. So I'd start wiping, scrubbing, arranging, as if I could put my fears back in order. When I was a child, my mother used to say, "A clean home means everything is fine." But things weren't fine. She said it right after my father slammed the door, so I learned to make the floor shine when I felt something breaking inside. Now, as an adult, I do the same. People call me tidy. I call it survival. I'm not afraid of dust. I'm afraid of chaos. Because when everything is out of place, I remember the night my whole world was, too. Sometimes when I wash the dishes, I catch myself holding my breath. It's like I'm waiting for something to happen. The clinking of glass, the running water, it's all too familiar. That sound used to cover the noise of my parents fighting. I was 8 when I started cleaning to make the shouting stop. The smell of soap was safer than the sound of anger. I didn't understand it then, but I was bargaining with the world. If I make everything perfect, no one will leave. Now I live alone. No one shouts. No one leaves. Yet I still wake up at night, walk into the kitchen, and rearrange the plates until they feel right. People think cleanliness is about order. For me, it's memory. And memory doesn't wash away that easily. Last week, the shelf in my bathroom collapsed. It was small. Just a few bottles falling onto the tiles. But I froze. My heart started racing like something terrible had happened. I cleaned the mess right away, of course. But afterward, I sat on the cold floor, hands still shaking. And I realized it wasn't about the shelf. It was about the sound. The crash felt like that night. The one when my father left and the plates broke across the kitchen. It's strange how your body remembers before your mind does. Every noise, every sudden mess, it pulls me back. People tell me, "Relax, it's nothing," but they don't hear the echo I hear. To them, it's broken glass. To me, it's my childhood collapsing all over again. Today I bought a new cleaning spray, lemon scent, bright, sharp, artificial. It filled the apartment so quickly that I had to open all the windows. The air felt too clean, almost hollow. As I stood there, the smell dragged me back to a Sunday morning. My mother scrubbing the table, her wedding ring tapping against the wood. She looked calm, almost peaceful, but her silence was heavy enough to choke the room. That's when I learned what silence can do. It hides the anger, the sadness, the truth. And lemon, sweet, stinging lemon, became the smell of pretending. I still clean when I can't cry, because it's easier to shine a surface than face what's underneath. Maybe I'm not afraid of dirt after all. Maybe I'm afraid of what I'll find when the room is finally spotless. This morning, I didn't make my bed. For the first time in years, I left the sheets tangled and walked away. It felt wrong, like skipping a heartbeat. The voice in my head whispered, "You're slipping. Fix it now." But I didn't. I made coffee instead, sat by the window and stared at the sunlight crawling across the floor. The dust looked almost beautiful, tiny golden specks floating in the quiet air, reminding me that even chaos can shimmer if you stop trying to sweep it away. My hands twitched a few times, wanting to reach for the cloth, but I kept them still. Maybe control isn't safety. Maybe it's just another kind of prison, one that smells like bleach and fear. When I finally looked back at the unmade bed, I felt something strange. Not guilt, not shame, just space. Like the room could finally breathe. Like I could finally breathe. I remember the night it started. I was 9. The house was small, the walls thin, the arguments louder than the TV. That night, I tried to fix it the only way I knew. I cleaned. I wiped the table, folded napkins, lined up the spoons. My hands were shaking, but I kept going. If I could make everything perfect, maybe they'd stop yelling. Maybe he wouldn't leave again. Then it happened. The plate slipped from my mother's hand and shattered on the floor. I froze, waiting for the sound that always came after. The shouting, the slamming, the silence. But instead, my mother sank to the ground and cried. I didn't know what to do, so I started picking up the pieces, one by one, tiny shards cutting into my fingers. I didn't feel the pain, just relief, because the floor was clean again. That's how I learned control, through glass and fear and a child's quiet deal with chaos. If I can just keep it spotless, maybe nothing will break again. I cleaned my apartment last night until the floor gleamed like glass. When I finished, the silence was unbearable. No sound, no dirt, no mess, just the same ache that never leaves. I sat in the middle of the room, staring at my reflection in the polished tiles. I could see my hands trembling in the shine. All this time, I thought I was fighting chaos, but maybe I've been fighting myself. Perfection used to protect me. If everything looked fine, then I must be fine too. But lately, the shine feels fake, like I'm wiping my pain into corners no one sees. I touched the floor, still cold, still smooth, and for a moment I wished it was messy again, proof that life still moves, that I'm still here, breathing, failing, existing. The truth is, nothing I clean ever stays clean, and maybe that's not a failure. Maybe that's the point. This morning, sunlight slipped through the curtains and landed on the dust I never wiped away, tiny particles floating like slow snow. For once, I didn't reach for the cloth. I just watched them dance. There was peace in their aimlessness, in how they didn't rush to settle. Maybe that's what I've been missing, the space between control and surrender. I made coffee, let the cup sit on the table, a small ring of brown spreading across the wood. Old me would have scrubbed it instantly. Now I trace it with my finger, like it's proof that life actually touches things. The world didn't end. The ceiling didn't crack. The ghosts stayed quiet. Only my heartbeat changed. Slower, softer. I used to think safety meant spotless. Now I think safety means staying, even when it's messy. The dust is still there. So am I. And maybe for the first time,